Good day, everybody. I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 1 English lesson on sentence types. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts, grade grade 1, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of sentence types. Right? All right. So when it comes to, so we're doing sentence types, right? All right. And with sentence types, right, there's different types of sentences. We have a statement, we have a question, we have an exclamation, and then we also have command sentences, right? And each sentence, it also ends with a certain end mark, and there is also a specific reason as to why or how we can use the that specific type of sentence, right? And also how we can choose the right end mark for whichever sentence type that we might use. And with our specific sentences, right? With our sentences or different sentences, we can also ask ourselves who, what, when, where, and why they are doing the specific things, right? And we're going to find out basically how we can incorporate who, what, when, where, and why within our different types of sentences. All right. And if we, so we see that our chapter is sentence types. Our subject is English language arts. We're doing, it is grade one. And in the lessons that we are focusing on under the chapter of of sentence types, we are going to identify statements. We're going to identify question. We're going to identify exclamations as well as commands. So that is going to be our lessons for today. We're going to identify statements, identify questions, identify exclamations, and identify commands. So we said we identify sentence, statement. We're going to identify questions. We're going to identify exclamations. And we're going to identify commands. And that is going to be our lessons for today. All right. So when it comes to our statements, right? So firstly, we have four kinds of sentences. And we see that the four kinds of sentences that we have is we have a statement, we have a question, we have an exclamation, and we have a command, right? So that is the four kinds of sentences that we have. And when it comes to a statement, right? If we look at the first one, which is a statement, a statement is it tells us about something. So it can be anything. It tells us about something. It can be anything random even, right? But we just say that a statement it tells about something. And a statement it ends with a period. Right? So we have a statement is the first one. it tells about something, and it ends with a period. And if we look at an example of a statement, then we say a lamb is a baby sheep. You see, so it's basically you just say a lamb is a baby sheep, right? Nobody asked about it. They don't even have to respond. Nothing, right? That is basically just something that you are telling someone. The next one is Sam took a cookie. So even if you would sometimes even with a statement, it's like saying, I have two sisters and one brother, right? You are just telling someone something. I have three siblings. I have read on. I live over there, right? That is a statement. And the statement, it ends with a period. Then we have the next kind of sentence, which is a question. And a question, it asks something. So, which means that if you want to ask a question, right? If you want to ask a question, and then your question needs to end with a question mark. And one of the questions can be, how old are you? Are we there yet? How do airplanes stay up? What is your name? Are you going to the concert? Those are all questions that you can ask, right? And once you ask a question, right, that's a type of sentence. And then that question needs to end with a question mark. And then we have an exclamation. An exclamation is like a statement. So an exclamation, it is like a statement. And when it comes to an exclamation sentence, right, like a statement, the only thing that differs from an exclamation, right, is that it shows surprise or it shows strong feelings. And with an exclamation sentence, it ends with an exclamation point. And if we look at a few examples, right, when it comes to an exclamation, like a statement, it there's a turtle on the road. So which means that you are showing surprise because this turtle is in the road and you guys are driving. The first question says, or the first sentence says, or the first statement says, there is a turtle in the road. So there's a turtle in the road. And as you can see, it ends with an exclamation point. And another one says, today is my birthday. You know, when you're excited because it's your birthday, and it ends with an exclamation point. And then we have a command, and a command, it tells someone to do something. So it's like you're requesting something, right? It's not a command as it's, I'm not saying it's a command as in you should do this now or else. No, not that command. Anything that even if a teacher tells you to complete your homework, to read whatever chapter for maybe the next day, right? That means your teacher is telling you to do something. That is a command. It's like when someone is telling you to do something. And when it comes to a command that tells us to do something, most of the time, a command ends with a period, right? It's basically just someone telling you to do something. And when it comes to a command, right, we say that most times a command ends with a period, but if the command shows strong feelings, and then it ends with an exclamation point. And if we look at a few examples, right, it says, put your shoes on. You see, someone is telling you to do something. They're telling you to put your shoes on. And another example of a command is like, you see, in this one ends with an exclamation point. It says, be nice to your sister. You know how your parent reminds you. All right. So these are the four kinds of sentences, right? And we see that with these four kinds of sentences, we have a statement, we have a question, an exclamation, and we have a command. All right. So we said we have a statement that tells a story. We have a question, and it asks a question. We have an exclamation sentence, which is like a statement, but it shows strong feelings, and it ends with an exclamation point. And we have a command, and a command tells someone to do something. It's like requesting, right? And it ends with a Then we have a exclamation sentence, and we said an exclamation sentence is a statement, but it shows strong feelings and it shows surprise. And an exclamation ends with an exclamation point, and then lastly we have a command, which tells someone or tells someone to do something. All right, so now we're going to aplusstudents.ca where we are going to continue with sentence types and then we're going to our test after we're done an activity. All right, so we see that we're going to identify statements first. We're going to identify statements. All right, so here we have our four kinds of sentence, and we must say that the first one is a statement. And with a statement, it tells about something and it ends with a period. All right, so now we're going to do an activity. And we said that we have a question. But for now, we have a statement, and a statement, it basically tells a story. Just tells anything, right? So now we need to say which one is a statement. Remember, we said a statement ends with a period. It basically just tells you anything. That is a statement. It says which one is a statement. Janet is a great swimmer. Option one. Option two. How did you get there? Option two, three. Get in the pool. And number four is option four is the water is cold. And if we were to say which one is a statement, right? You remember where you're just telling someone something, and then we will say option one. Janet is a great swimmer. All right, and that is correct. The next one says which one is a statement. We need to say also which one is a statement. It says get there on time. Or do we say the turtle went back into the water? Don't cross the road. Is there any cake left? We need to say which kind of sentence or type of sentence is this. All right, and if we look at this word, right, it says the turtle went back into the water. So the turtle went back into the water, or don't cross the road, or the last one is there any cake left? All right, and we said that we need to look for a statement, and a statement is just where you're telling someone something. And if we were to choose a statement, we would say, the turtle went back into the water. All right, and which one is a statement? Just telling us something random. And if we were to choose the correct one, we would choose option two. The turtle went back into the water. All right, we need to now say which one is a statement. Which one is a statement? Is it option one? Don't trip on the rug. All right, the next one is a statement again. Right? A statement. And with a statement, it says, don't trip on the rug. Or option two, some people can't eat peanuts. Option three, can you get the phone? And option four, John, sit down. And if we were to choose the correct statement, all right, and if we look at a statement, right, then we will say option two, some people can't eat peanuts. That is a statement that's being made. All right, and if we were to choose which statement, right? And then we would say option three, which is lions can live for more than 10 years. And that is a statement. The next one, it says, which one is a statement? So we must choose a statement. Does it say Ross found a cat? All right, and if we were to choose that statement, right? Remember we said a statement does not have a period. Sorry, it ends with a period. All right, and when we look at the statement, right, then we can choose the last one, which is the clients are buying a farm. It's just something that you're telling someone. All right. So now we're going to the next question. The next lesson, which is all right. Oopsie. And if we look at the next one is questions. So far we have identified a statement and how we can use it. And now we're going to identify questions. All right. And then when it comes to a question, we said a question asks something and it ends with a question mark. For example, how do airplanes stay up? Or are we there yet? All right. And when it comes to our questions, right? A question it asks something once again and it ends with a question mark, right? So, like I said, even with the questions, you can ask yourself, how old are you? What is your name? Where do you live? Those are all questions because it ends with a question mark. What is your favorite color? That is a question that we need to ask, right? And with question, it ends with a question mark, right? So now we're going to our test. And when it comes to a question, right, you said remember a question, it asks questions and it ends with a question mark. Always ends with a question mark. So now we need to say which one is a question. All right. And now when it comes to the questions, right, it says we who or Robin drinks milk with her lunch. All right. And then when it comes to questions, right, we said that any question that ends with a question mark is a question. When did Tess go to Boston? And then the last one is even though we have a question, but we also have a command. All right, so we need to say which one is a question. Remember, we said a question ends with a question mark. It says Robin drinks tea with her lunch. All right, and if we look at questions, right, it says when did Tess go to Boston? And that is a question, and it even ends with a question mark. We need to say which one is a question. All right, yes. And now, lastly, which one is a question? Is it option one? So we have a question. And remember, question, it ends with a question mark. All right. And we're going to our question mark, which is what are you working on? And when it comes to a question, remember we said that with a question, it ends with a question mark. All right, and we will go with option one, which is what are you working on? It's the same as us asking, how old are you? All right, and then the last one, it says, what are you working on? Those are all sentences that ends with a question mark. Right? These are sentences that ends with a question mark. And we said we have four kinds of sentences. We have a statement, we have a question, exclamation, and a command. With a statement only tells you something, and it ends with a period. All right, and if we ask a question, we will ask the first one, what are you working on? All right, and we see that even though it's a statement but making a question, and it ends with a question mark. And then, so with a question, we can ask a question, and it says, what do you want for lunch? All right, and when it comes to a question, a statement, right? We basically by a command. Then if it comes to a command, right, we say a command is basically a statement. It's either where you're asking someone something. All right. And then we said, which one is a question? And then what do you want for lunch is a question. All right, and that's the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade one, for joining. And I really hope that you're going to have a good day, brother. Goodbye.